Jeff Pasquino from thefootballguys.com is here. If you have a fantasy football question for Jeff, send us a text message at 609-403-0973, 609-403-0973. Send us a text message with your fantasy football questions for Jeff, and we will get to those coming up in just a minute. Make sure you get your texts in as fast as possible because obviously they come in fast and furious for Jeff, as everybody trying to get your insight and analysis. Jeff, how are you? We got the Thursday night football game tonight. Not a great game. You got Miami and Baltimore, two teams that have struggled on offense. So give us some guys that you're watching in tonight's game.
I'm watching the referees and maybe the kickers. I'm not looking at this game too hard. Maybe Ajayi, if he suits up and is a go. I think that Miami might run the ball a lot. I do like Matt Moore, but I think it's going to be mostly a possession passing game. I actually like Miami to probably steal this one in an ugly game unless Tucker kicks 4 or 5 field goals.
Yeah, so if you have Tucker, like me, get him in there, right?
Yeah.
Got to get him in.
Absolutely.
All right, let's take a look at some plays for the week here and start. How about Phillip Rivers? They've won 3 in a row. The Patriots have been dreadful. Is Phillip Rivers the guy you got to play this week?
Well, they're going to roll out some reasons not to, such as like he's playing at 1 o'clock Eastern. But I guess the Patriots defense, I always say go with them. The Chargers are hot. They won 3 in a row. They're looking good. Their defense has played solid. I think that the Chargers could go in there and steal one. If not, at least Rivers is going to be productive.
Okay, you got Jameis Winston, who a lot of people had high hopes for this year. How about Jameis Winston this week?
We have him as a bottom quarterback one, but I'm really leaning against him because Carolina's defense has been pretty good, and I really like Carolina in that game. Winston, I think it's going to be a little bit rough for him.
Jeff Pasquino, Football Guys, taking a look at some quarterbacks here. How about a guy, let's go locally here, Carson Wentz. I guess he wasn't thought of as much of a fantasy quarterback, but right now he's got the most touchdowns in the league, 49ers on the schedule. Where do you have him rated this week?
Number 1. I think this is probably the top spot for him, and then the Eagles are a big favorite. I've been looking all week. As growing up as an Eagles fan, you always kind of look for the negative. I'm looking for how this could be a trap game. But I don't see it. Even if they look past them, maybe they don't beat them as hard, but San Francisco's just that bad. They've lost 4. This is their 4th road game in 5 weeks. This is their 3rd trip to the East Coast in 4 weeks.
Wow.
The early kick. It's really shaped up well for the Eagles. It's just a matter where the points are going to come from, but I love Wentz. They throw the ball a lot.
We're talking with Jeff Pasquino, looking at some quarterbacks here. What about, let's go to Matthew Stafford taking on Pittsburgh here. He's been a guy that's been kind of maddening this year if you're a Stafford owner, but you're starting to get late in the year. You got to start making some decisions on these guys that performed in past years but aren't giving you week-to-week production this year. So how about Stafford?
Yeah, I like Stafford coming off of his bye. And also, speaking of byes, we have 6 teams on a bye, so you got to reach a little bit deeper this week. So Stafford's right there at that borderline quarterback one. I think we could be looking at a sneaky shootout against Pittsburgh.
All right, Jeff Pasquino, footballguys.com. As he said, there's a lot of buys this week, so get your buy players out of there. Let's go to some running backs this week for Jeff, and always injury issues, it seems like, in the running back spot. But let's go to, how about New Orleans with Alvin Kamara this week? Is it time that you can feel confident playing him as one of your top 2 backs?
The Bears, they've actually been winning with their defense. They're a very good defense. They scored a few in the last few weeks. I think that they're pretty solid, but the Saints are going to move the ball at home. I think both Kamara and Ingram are solid running back ones this week.
What about, let's go to, let's say, how about Rob Kelly in Washington? He's a guy that, hasn't got a lot of the touches recently. Chris Thompson's out there. So what are you doing with the Washington back situation? Because they're not using Kelly all that much.
Well, he's been hurt, and they may be using him more now. But, again, I think this is going to be more of a Kirk Cousins versus Dak Prescott kind of game. I think Kelly could see some touches. It all depends if he finds the end zone. He's very touchdown dependent for production this week. I have him as a flex option.
A couple of weeks ago, McKinnon was your play. You rewarded players with that. But what about Latavius Murray this week? Is he the play in Minnesota?
I think both are in play. They're at Twickenham Stadium again, the last final game in London, early morning. It's a rugby stadium. This turf holds up well. I think both backs are going to be used a lot because they have some iffy health issues at both quarterback and wide receiver.
Jeff Pasquino, footballguys.com, answering your fantasy football questions. Of course, get your questions in on the text board, 609-403-0973. See a lot of questions pouring in for Jeff here for week number 8. PTs load them up. I'll continue to ask about some of the mid-level plays here for you guys out there. Everybody always likes to hear, that guy's on one of my teams here. What about Tevin Coleman at the Jets this week? He has kind of been a head-scratcher this year.
Yeah, and typically the recipe has been use Coleman on the road and use Freeman at home. But the Jets are pretty solid on defense, and they've won a few in a row. I really question Atlanta's production this week. The script may be flipped on him. Coleman is a running back 2/flex this week.
How about Kareem Hunt? You souring on him at all? I mean, he was the MVP of the first 4 weeks of the season, fantasy-wise. Now he's got a tough Denver defense. Is he an automatic play?
The way to beat Denver is with short passes, and Hunt is very good at that. And he's also good between the tackles. So the Denver's strength is the outside passing defense. So I think that both Kareem Hunt and Travis Kelce are the two ways to beat them, and they're going to do well this week.
Can't believe we're saying this, but Jordan Howard against a tough Saints defense. You playing Howard this week?
Yeah, the Saints have been up and coming. They've really turned the corner on their defense. I think Jordan Howard, again, it's a bye week. I think he's still running back 1, and it's in a dome, so it's going to be a nice productive environment. And he's going to see plenty of touches because Trubisky had 7 passes last week.
So sit all of your Bear wide receivers. Let's go to
play
them.
The Bears defense.
Let's see. Some more text messages at 609-403-0973 if you have a fantasy football question for Jeff Pasquino from thefootballguys.com. DeAndre Hopkins, he has got a lot of touchdowns this year, but he's taking on Seattle. So is Hopkins a play this week?
Seattle's defense is tough, and Houston is coming off of a bye. I think they are going to have to move the ball through him. Hopkins is a target hog. But he's going to draw some tough coverage. I think he's more of a wide receiver, too. Definitely playable this week.
Thielen has a lot of people thought he'd break out. Will this be the week against the Browns?
Yes, because Cleveland's weakness is against the pass. I want to temper a little bit because Kyle Rudolph is going to be involved. The quarterback's a little iffy, and also Stephon Diggs is starting to practice. So Thielen targets may go down a little bit. I have him as a wide receiver, too.
What about Keenan Allen? Is he still, lingering from that knee, or what's happening with him? Is he a guy against the Patriots this week that maybe this is the week he finally breaks out and has a big one?
This should be the week, and I really like his prospects. I have him as a top 5 wideout this week. Patriots defense is bad, and Allen sees a lot of targets.
Jeff Pasquino, footballguys.com. We'll ask him one more before we get to your questions. And what about, Amari Cooper had a huge week last week. Can he do it again?
Well, I think he can. Buffalo is a little bit suspect on the pass defense. I think they're going to get both him and Crabtree plenty of targets. And I love the Oakland passing game this week because Marshawn Lynch is suspended. So the running backs are going to be diminished. They're going to be throwing to the 2 wideouts this week.
Rapid fire time, Jeff. That's where I get to ask the questions that people are texting in. We'll start with this. Keenan Allen or McKinnon, half-point PPR? Cam and Winston, too, they want to know.
Keenan Allen.
And then Stafford or Rivers?
I like Rivers this week.
Tight end PPR, Hunter Henry or Jason Witten?
Jason Witten, but I like them both.
QB PPR, Matthew Stafford or Jameis Winston?
Stafford.
Flex PPR.
What exactly is a quarterback PPR? Do you get a point for the completion?
I don't know.
There's so many leagues out there. Flex PPR, Devin Funchess or Theo Riddick?
Ooh, I think I go Funchess. It's a better matchup.
Running backs, McKinnon,
I heard he runs good routes.
Smallwood, Rob
Funchess.
Kelly, Jalen Richard, or James White. Pick 2. I'm locked into my questions here, Mike Gill. Don't distract me.
I got James White, and I missed the first 2 names.
It was McKinnon, Smallwood, Rob Kelly, Jalen Richard, or James White.
I would go with Kelly and White, just on volume.
Kelly and White, he says. Willie or Watson at quarterback and Landry or Fuller. It's a PPR league. Excuse me, Wilson or Watson at quarterback and Landry or Fuller, PPR league.
Oh, it's Wilson, and I would go Watson.
And then PPR league, Funchess or Cooper, and at flex, Mixon, Tyreek Hill, or Diggs.
Diggs if he's healthy, if not Tyreek Hill, and then I go with Cooper over Funchess.
Ben Roethlisberger or Tyrod Taylor?
Tyrod Taylor is a nice sleeper this week. I like him against that Oakland suspect defense.
I like this one. I can't believe I'd be asking this at the beginning of the season, but Tom Brady or Carson Wentz?
Carson Wentz.
And there you go.
All right,
Flex.
Jeff Pasquino.
There's one more. Flex league, Jeff. Diggs or Marvin Jones or Deshaun Jackson?
I like Diggs if he's healthy. If not, I like D-Jax.
All right, Jeff Pasquino, footballguys.com, answering your fantasy football questions. Jeff, how about throwing a couple of guys out there that you like this week under the radar?
I think the Cincinnati passing game, the entire offense looks good this week. Andy Dalton, Joe Mixon, Croft, the tight end, and, of course, A.J. Green. Running back, I think Christian McCaffrey. You're going to be looking for some good value running backs this week. Christian McCaffrey is going to see a lot of targets. Joe Mixon, as I said. I think Duke Johnson gets a lot of targets as well, so keep an eye on him. And also both Oakland running backs. I like DeAndre Washington, but it's really bottom of the barrel there. Wide receiver, I think Pierre Garçon is going to be a borderline wide receiver 1 on volume against the Eagles. And I also like Jermaine Kearse is seeing a lot of targets for the Jets, but a nice name to keep an eye on and see where he lines up. Juju Smith-Schuster for Pittsburgh against Detroit. Martavis Bryant has been demoted to the practice squad, the scout team. So Juju Smith-Schuster, pick him up, and he may be a solid wide receiver 2 for you this week.
All right, there you go. Jeff Pasquino from thefootballguys.com helping you set your Week 8 fantasy football lineup. Get your bye week players out. Get your Thursday night players in. Jeff, good luck to you.
Good luck to you, everybody. Enjoy the games.